All right. Well, I wanted to say welcome to everybody. I really appreciate everyone being here. Appreciate you waiting in the waiting room for just a few minutes before we started, and excited to have a great conversation today. My name is Thomas Winkle. I'm the director of the Arizona Coalition for Military Families, and I'm a former United States Marine, and excited to be engaged with us and all the great partners that we have today. I'd like to welcome everybody really officially to the Be Connected Career Navigation Plus effort to expand career opportunities for women veterans and minority veterans. Joining us today to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance is newly retired, fresh retired, just maybe about a week, retired Air Force Master Sergeant Jeremy Bostock.
Thanks, Thomas. I'm actually here on base getting my retiree ID card today, so a pretty exciting day today. Awesome. We'll go and do the Pledge of Allegiance. So I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's great, Jeremy. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And that's straight from an Air Force base right here in Arizona. That's fantastic. And you're actually doing some of your wrap up retirement stuff, right?
Yes, sir.
That's great. Love it. And Jeremy is one of our newest career specialists, career navigation specialists, and we're incredibly excited to have him on board. So here's the deal. Today, we're going to have a conversation. We're going to have a discussion. We're going to gain some insights, and we're going to launch a program, which is really exciting. The goals of this program are to increase engagement of women veteran and minority veterans in the workforce ecosystem. And we're going to talk a lot about that today in order to advance them on their career-seeking journey. And eventually, the goal is to obtain meaningful employment opportunities. And we are doing this with as many partners as we can possibly include. I'm going to do this the fun way first. We're working with ADVS, VA, DOL, Arizona at Work, OEO, ACA, GOYFF, ACTVC, ADS, and BWF.
A, B, C, D, E, I can just keep going.
And A, B, C, D, E, F, G. But, to stretch that out just a little bit, because they're all really important partners. Arizona Department of Veteran Services, the VA, the Veteran Benefits Administration, DOL, Arizona at Work, Office of Economic Opportunity, the Arizona Commerce Authority, the Governor's Office of Youth, Faith, and Family, the Arizona Corporate Council on Veteran Careers, Arizona Department of Economic Security, and the Bob Woodruff Foundation. And hopefully the goal is to have each one of your organizations in partnership as well. Today, we're going to walk you through all of this. We're going to talk about the program. We're going to talk about, and you're going to get to meet a lot of really great folks that are going to help us to do all that. And first up is Wanda Wright. So, Director Wright is really my co-conspirator in ensuring that Be Connected is always focusing on the right resource, service, or benefit at the Wanda Wright time. Wanda, take this away from me, please.
Oh my gosh, Thomas, you're hysterical. All right, well, welcome everybody. So glad to see all the faces here today. I always enjoy when we as a state collaborate with the VA central office to try to get programs launched. It helps us in Arizona, and I think it supports the VA's ability to kind of spread best practices across the nation. I am a Air Force veteran, 26 years. I went to the Air Force Academy, so I always count that. So that's 30. And I had a wonderful career. And I guess you would say that this job as director for the Arizona Department of Veteran Services kind of tops all that off. I love my job. I love being here every day and helping veterans to understand all of the resources and benefits they have. And so it gives me great pleasure this morning to introduce a video from our 23rd governor, Governor Doug Ducey. He was elected in 2014 and re-elected in 2018. Governor Ducey has supported veteran-centric legislation to include funding the Be Connected program, occupational licensing recognition from other states, and state tax exclusion in military retirement. He will be speaking to us today about veteran employment. And I just appreciate the fact that he couldn't be here with us, but that he was willing to put together a couple minutes to kind of talk to us about his thoughts on employment for veterans.
Hello, this is Governor Ducey. I'm excited to join you this morning as we launch Be Connected's Career Navigation Plus program. Here in Arizona, we're dedicated to supporting our veterans. They've put their lives on the line to protect us. They did so without question and without the need for recognition, and we will not take their service for granted. We can never repay our service members and veterans for their sacrifice and their bravery. But what we can do is try to make life better for them after their service. These heroes put our country first, and now it's time we put them first. It's why we launched the Veteran Toolkit and the Arizona Roadmap to Veteran Employment, which help connect veterans with job opportunities. And it's why in this year's budget, we eliminated all income taxes from our veterans' military pensions. With this new program, I'm confident that we'll be able to help even more Arizona veterans. Be Connected is helping us create meaningful career opportunities for minority and women veterans by partnering with employers, state agencies, and nonprofits to provide critical support and resources. Our economy is booming in Arizona, and that means there are a number of great employment opportunities. But that means nothing if our veterans aren't able to find them. This program will be critical in closing that gap. I want to recognize the efforts of all the employers here today who are leading the way to help make meaningful career opportunities available to veterans and especially minority and women veterans. I also want to take the time to encourage all veterans to consider a career in public service at the state of Arizona. We have hundreds of jobs available right now, and we offer hiring preferences for qualified and disabled veterans seeking employment with the state. Visit azstatejobs.gov to learn more. Here at the Governor's Office, we're going to continue to support our veterans in any way we can. Thank you for being a part of this important program, and thank you to all who have served. God bless you all.
And to really put emphasis on it, the governor signed a proclamation for today. So I'm happy to read that. State of Arizona proclamation. Whereas the state of Arizona is home to more than 500,000 service members, veterans, and their families who live throughout our state, who bring valuable skills, knowledge, and experience and leadership to all of our civilian workspaces. And whereas military, government, and community employment service providers work to connect service members, veterans, and their family members with meaningful employment opportunities. And whereas public and private sector organizations seek to strengthen the recruiting, hiring, retention, promotion, and career development of military affiliated employees by being Arizona veteran supportive employers. And whereas key stakeholders from the public and private sector have come together to elevate the Be Connected Career Navigation Program to focus on veteran careers facilitated by the Arizona Department of Veteran Services, the Arizona Department of Economic Security, and the Arizona Coalition for Military Families. And whereas the partnership with the United States Department of Veteran Affairs, State of Arizona agencies, Arizona at Work, the Arizona Corporate Council on Veteran Careers, and nonprofit organizations has been integral to providing transitioning service members, veterans and their families, valuable career development services, training, education, and career opportunities throughout their career from first hire to after they retire. And whereas the unique contributions made to Arizona's workplaces by female and minority veterans enhance our state's workforce by including diverse experiences, perspectives, and dimensions that reflect our shared commitment to inclusivity. And whereas the hiring and retention of military affiliated employees contribute to a strong workforce with diversified skills to bolster the economy throughout the state of Arizona. Now, therefore, I, Douglas A. Ducey, Governor of the state of Arizona, do hereby proclaim September 30th, 2021 as Be Connected Veteran Career Day. Yay!
Woohoo! All right. Well, thank you so much, Wanda. And whereas you have Director Wright and Governor Doug Ducey, you have steadfast support for service members, veterans, and their families. Thank you so much, Wanda. That was great.
You're welcome.
Great news.
So now I would like to introduce you to the Director of the Governor's Office of Youth, Faith, and Family, Maria Fuentes. Put simply, Maria and her really, truly awesome team help to make our state a better, kind of safer, more friendly place to live. That's at least my very simplistic summary of all the things that her and her office does. And she's really well out in front of issues and a huge supporter of service members, veterans, and their families. Please join me in welcoming Director Fuentes.
Thank you, Thomas. I'm very, very happy to be here and grateful to continue to be a partner of the Arizona Coalition for Military Families, and of course, my dear friend, Director Wright. The Governor's Office of Youth, Faith, and Family does a number of topic areas and grants and commissions, and I won't bore you with the details, but one of the programs that I personally love supporting the most is this program and this partnership with Be Connected, which precedes my joining the Governor's Office of Youth, Faith, and Family, but I'm very grateful to have been able to continue it and to expand it and to invest in the work that the coalition does, along with a number of partners across the state. I mean, the coalition and its partnerships is very expansive in how it's able to support military service members and their families and veterans. And so it's really an honor and a privilege for us to be a small part of how we're able to support this work, because it really is a wraparound type of service and support for people that need it to prevent most worst outcomes one can think of. But to do that, you have to help people along the way with small things and maybe bigger things. And so the way they're able to do that with their navigation services, with this program, and just the way they think about the whole family and the whole person is really impressive, and something that I hope we can continue to grow, not just in this space, but in other spaces. So I'm very happy to be here to help launch this program and to have this conversation, because it's truly critical. And I'm just very, very grateful for the work of everyone here and for continuing to be a partner in it.
Thanks, Maria. You're awesome. Appreciate it. I appreciate you being awesome. All right. Yeah, I really do. I encourage everybody to take a look at the Governor's Office for Youth, Faith, and Family, their website and the various things. They've got domestic violence efforts. They've got, there's just a lot of really good things that are happening there. And so please take a look at that. There's great value in that. So, okay, our next guest is Shantae Sampson. She is Chief of Economic Development in the Outreach, Transition, and Economic Development area of the Veteran Benefits Administration. When Wanda and I were first approached about doing something around employment, Shantae and Al Avina, we really wanted to use the ecosystem that's been built over many, many years. And what I'll just say is I'll cut it off right there and say, thank you for trusting our community, and thank you for your patience throughout this process. I just appreciate everything that you've brought to it. So, Shantae.
Yes, thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Director Wright. It's been a true pleasure partnering with you all. As Thomas said, I am the Chief of Economic Development in the Office of Outreach, Transition Economic Development, Veterans Benefits Administration, and we are honored to be here. It's been quite the experience. We came to the table pretty early on, had some ideas as to which way we were going to go, and then after meeting and just brainstorming, we came up with this career navigator. So perfect time, great product out there to employ and bring meaningful resources to our transitioning service members, military spouses, veterans, their family members, and caregivers. Our purpose in the Office of Transition and Economic Development is developing partnerships and networking. And then also too, we call ourselves the conduit, where we connect transitioning service members to their benefits and services. And then most importantly, bring meaningful employment to them to assist them to get back to work, because we know that is a part of economic development. We are committed to continue relationships with the state of Arizona and your communities, and we appreciate the service that you give our beneficiaries and transitioning service members, especially since they have, you're serving those who have borne the battle, and that is our mission. So thank you very much. We are glad to be here. At this time, I would like to introduce my Assistant Director, Director of Outreach, Transition, and Economic Development, Ms. Deetra Giles. Deetra, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shante, for that warm handover. I'm super excited to be here today. Just going to give you a little history of and some current information on what's going on with outreach, transition, and economic development. So I want to let you know that there'll be a couple times that we refer to our office as OTED. So if you hear that acronym, that's what I'm implying. So to piggyback off some of the points that Shante talked about, our mission, we are completely dedicated to easing that military to civilian transition journey and bring together government, VSOs, nonprofits, private industries, to collaborate without barriers to provide transitioning service members, veterans, and their families, because they're important too, a world-class experience that honors their service. So the programs and services that are managed by OTED serve as a huge integral part of VA's broader effort to better coordinate and promote that full range of internal and external transition support to help transitioning service members, veterans, and family members plan for and experience a successful transition to civilian life. As you all are aware, that first 365 days is extremely important, and the sooner we can conduct those touch points to educate and inform, usually there's a better transition experience there. So also to ease that journey, we also engage with service members while they're still on active duty. We collaborate very effectively with the Department of Defense. So we partner with them, and we have military life cycle modules. And also we kind of help them with that military life cycle to help them proactively prepare for civilian life. So I'm going to go into that a little bit more. As the only VA entity that reaches 100% of transitioning service members before they leave, since TAP is mandated by the VOW Act, OTED is uniquely positioned to ensure seamless support during that 365 days of pre-separation, and also that 365 days post-separation. That's where that transition stress may intensify, and there's also usually an increased risk for mental health and or suicide. So we want to make sure we specifically pay attention to that first year as they transition. So as far as military to civilian, we're going to talk a little bit. I want to talk about on that transition space just a little bit more because it's so important. So here in VA, especially in OTED, we call ourselves like the gateway for our transitioning service members. We lead here in OTED and administer that TAP program, which I'm pretty sure most people are familiar with. This that transition assistance program. VA has a day, DOD has most of the days, and DOL too. Department of Labor is very important when it comes to that employment piece. We also host and lead other initiatives and related programs which welcomes over 250,000 service members who transition from the military to civilian life annually. That's a lot of service members. So OTED, as I stated before, we collaborate with our interagency partners through interagency partner meetings. We collaborate with DOD, DOL, education, small business administration to administer that TAP program effectively. So to implement TAP, we have a dedicated workforce of up to 321 VA benefits advisors at all of the installations, 335 installations worldwide. And they're focused on providing benefits briefings and other transition activities to support that military civilian transition. Pre-COVID, post-COVID, I would say we're still in COVID, but right now a lot of the benefit advisors have started to move back on site to the installations. So our transitioning service members can walk in there and conduct one-on-ones with them, ask them about their, their benefits, and also they can conduct warm handovers to help them to community resources and other federal agencies. So the benefit advisors are also responsible for delivering that mandatory full day benefits and services courses to 100% of service members. This course is offered in the 365-day period leading up to separation, up to 2 years before separation for retirees. And in some cases, service members will take the course more than once because it's a lot of information to learn in one day. So they will take that course and also go meet with their benefits advisor to obtain additional information. So after transitioning service member becomes a veteran, the VA through OTED provides several different programmatic touch points to help new veterans and their family members navigate what can be a complex, very complex enterprise of understanding those benefits and the requirements and the eligibility, just walking through it and all those services that VA provides. And the first 90 days following separation, the veteran is personally called by one of our 122 VA representatives through the VA Solid Start program. And that call is really based on that veteran. So as the questions go on, as veterans ask questions, that kind of leads the outcome of the call. They immediately start up front, start to talk about some of those immediate benefits that veterans may be looking for, such as life insurance. And then throughout the conversation, they will conduct warm handovers to other agencies based on what the veteran is discussing on that call. Some veterans are very familiar with benefits, but those reps are prepared to talk to all different types of veterans that are still in the one-on-one stage of learning VA benefits, and they guide them and conduct warm handovers to make sure that they have all the resources they need to be successful in their transition. So also in the economic development side, to help veterans achieve full economic success beyond the military, OTED develops, implements, and executes a variety of programs and initiatives by leveraging VA enterprise-wide programs and services, and also maximizing our stakeholder collaboration via OTED's pre and post separation programs. So OTED, we have the outreach team that focuses on all different levels of outreach. We have national outreach to basically try to get the word out to as many veterans, family members, service members, caregivers about all the benefits, any types of policy changes that are going on within VA. And we also have special emphasis programs that focus on women veterans, military sexual trauma, homelessness. We have 14 different special emphasis programs where we have a national program manager that runs that program and collaborate with other agencies internally and externally to make sure that veterans, one, have access to all the resources, even outside of VA, and also our public contact team and the regional offices. We try to educate them as much as possible since they're interacting with veterans, and they can also pass along that information on resources and available benefits, policy changes, and things going on just kind of with the current state of VA. So OTED, big thing we also do, OTED orchestrates, plans, and executes biannual EII events, and those are our economic development initiatives. We just had one last week with Baltimore. It was a huge success. And those events are focused on economic distress locations with high veteran populations as defined by the Internal Revenue Service. So those are qualified opportunity zones to help with employment and community outreach. So I look forward to collaborate with all of you, your departments and your services in the year ahead to continue to drive the growth of economic development initiatives. That's a very big initiative right now that's started to get huge success coming out of it. We have had a lot of people reach out to us to collaborate. So these events have continued to grow and escalate. So we have many milestones to look forward to in fiscal year 22 as a community partnership. And I look forward to reaching them together and working with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Deetra. That's really great. Appreciate that rundown of everything, and we appreciate everything that the VA is doing to try to bridge that gap. That's the big important piece. Really, is the transitional stuff. And so I think with you all doing and being able to do more of that, I think it's a wonderful thing. So kudos. So I'd like to introduce Acting Director Casey Cavalli. He is a consistent and supportive force in the state and a true friend of Be Connected. Casey?
Hey, good morning, everybody. Thank you for attending this important event. My name is Casey Cavalli, and I work at the Phoenix VA Regional Office. So some things that we do here at the VA Regional Office are process disability claims. We answer the 800 number for VA benefits types of questions. We also have a division that's dedicated to helping veterans overcome their disabilities to find gainful employment. We're proud that 2/3 of our employees here at the regional office are veterans. Being an old Army Cav Scout myself, I never envisioned that I would or could ever work in an office. After I discharged from service, I kind of bounced around from job to job. I worked tree service, I worked construction, and it wasn't until I sought out VA for some assistance that I was introduced to a position, an entry-level position, pulling files all day long with the VA. Today, I'm still with the VA. Today, we here in Phoenix and the VA are still looking for motivated individuals to join our office and to help serve veterans. We also have a great dedicated staff, some who are here today that can help you if you're looking for that same opportunity. Yes, Cav Scout, excellent. I see somebody in the audience who also is a Cav Scout. All right, but I just want to say that the Phoenix VA Regional Office is not the only show in town. There are tons of other opportunities out there. Today, we're going to expose you to a whole bunch of different avenues that weren't around at the time that I discharged. These options are going to be available to everybody who's out there in the audience. So please pay attention, be engaged, take good notes. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised at what you hear today. Other than that, Scouts out. I'll give it back to Thomas.
Hey, Casey, I really appreciate that. And I hadn't heard that other element of your story before. So I appreciate you sharing that with all of us today. I think it's incredibly valuable for, what we're talking about, because we all get a little lost at times, and we've all got our story. And it's good to remember that no matter where we are or what we're doing, a little bit later in our life, we probably could have used, we could use help now as well, but it's a strong reminder that we really need to help kind of, assist our transitioning service members and younger veterans through to, meaningful careers and all that kind of good stuff that we're talking about today. So thanks, Casey, appreciate it. All right, next slide. I'd like to introduce, I get all motivated about this, but I'd like to next introduce Lieutenant Colonel retired Tony Forbes. Tony and I first met when he was with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. And while he was there, he got it. He really understood the magic that can happen at the local level, and then how that can be supported by national efforts. And so I just really appreciate that when he's now retired, right? And from the military. and working diligently at the Department of Labor. And I was happy to see when we first reconnected a couple of years ago that he still gets it. And I'm proud to call him a colleague and a friend. Tony?
Awesome. I appreciate the introduction there, Thomas. Director Wright, my the federal counterparts, federal agency counterparts, as well as, the state and local representatives here, appreciate you guys supporting this and coming together. As Thomas has said, my name is Tony Forbes. I am the Regional Veterans Employment Coordinator for the United States Department of Labor, Veterans Employment and Training Services. Essentially, our role and mission is to oversee and provide compliance as it relates to state grants and ultimately American Job Centers, or what we also know as one-stop career centers. Our role specifically focuses on more about protecting, or essentially the VA spoke a little bit to it, but provide, and we're in that TAP program, so we provide assistance, transition assistance under the auspices and the umbrella of employment. We prepare, so help transitioning service members and military spouses with resumes. We can also help them upskill to meet requirements. There's programs, and we also work with the VA, our sister agencies and whatnot, based off of what each agency can offer, based off the differences in the little programs. We do talk to one another, and we will hand off veterans and military spouses if one program can support an individual better than the other. And then lastly, we promote. So basically, I'm a huge advocate. What I do is basically I go out and speak to the employers. I'm the face of the Department of Labor and speak to employers and educate them on programs and services. Again, not only with the United States Department of Labor, but as the example given earlier was with the sister agency with the United States Department of Veteran Affairs. And we work within organizations all the way down to the local level. So from federal all the way down to local level. So what I'd like to do right now is introduce the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Policy, Mr. James Rodriguez. And he's responsible for preparing Americans, veterans, service members and their spouses for meaningful careers and post-separation from the United States military. Mr. Rodriguez Mr. Rodriguez and the entire VETS team want to commend the Arizona team and the city of Phoenix for their continued work in promoting economic opportunities for American veterans, military spouses, of which the Be Connected Expanding Career Summit is just another example of the commitment and dedication the Arizonians have contributing to the nation's goal in bringing America back to a thriving economy. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mr. James Rodriguez.
Hello, I'm James Rodriguez, Acting Assistant Secretary for the U.S. Department of Labor, Veterans Employment and Training Service, also known as VETS. I'd like to personally thank the organizations that have made it their mission to support veterans, transitioning service members, and their families in communities throughout the great state of Arizona. I am grateful for the Be Connected Career Navigation Plus initiative that connects minority veterans and women veterans with resources and wraparound services to address individual needs and barriers to expand career opportunities. I encourage you to share successful practices for hiring veterans and underserved populations and to partner with local, state, and national organizations that educate and advance minority veterans and women veterans. Our all-volunteer force is filled with high-quality recruits that reflect the diversity of our great nation. And veterans work effectively in diverse teams while accomplishing difficult missions under stressful conditions. They gain valuable skills in a culture that encourages initiative, believes in accountability, and develops some of the finest leaders in the world. Hiring veterans is not just the right thing to do, it's a smart business decision. Our vision at VETS is to enable all veterans to meet their full potential in the workplace. Our resources and programs at VETS exist to support this vision. And I applaud your Be Connected Career Navigation Plus initiative that will support communities across Arizona with efforts to shape not only the conversation on diversity, but also the continuation in educating your veteran-informed culture. I'm sincerely thankful for all who made this initiative possible. Thank you all.
Hey, thank you, Tony. Really appreciate it. And that was a great video. Please pass our regards and appreciation to him as well. Those are good words and kind of motivating as well. All right, hey, so let's shift the conversation a little bit. I'm going to talk for just a few minutes about some of the data that we've collected, and then we're going to start a conversation with our panelists. So, what do we know about Arizona minority veteran and women veterans in the workforce? Well, we have data. We have data from the 2019 Arizona Veterans Survey that you may have participated in yourself, along with over 11,000 of your fellow Arizona service members, veterans and their families. This is a great instrument that Director Wright and myself use, along with the governor's office and lots of other organizations, to be able to figure out what's going on and where do we need to direct our attention. So let's take a look, we'll go to the next slide, at what some of the data is telling us. Well, in Arizona and really nationally, we know that, excuse me, there are disparities. This is a snapshot of what this looks like from our survey. So you can see that you've got differences in, the number of unemployed veterans who are actively looking for employment. We want to make, all veterans be, really clear that there are a lot of positions out there. And that, I was just talking with Raytheon the other day, which is down in Tucson, and they've got 500 positions open. But we talk with State Farm, we talk with USAA, we talk with a variety of small, medium, and large businesses, corporations, and of course, the state government, who are actively seeking folks to, especially veterans, to come and be employed with their teams. And so we'd like to see this number reduced even more over the course of time. Next slide. This is always an interesting data point, in my opinion, and one of the first ones that I look at. Essentially, it's the impression of how stuck you feel in your current position. Very frustrating. If anyone has ever felt this way, you know what it feels like. And sometimes it can be hard to figure out, what do I need to do in order to be able to shift that? Remember that this effort is subtitled the Expanding Career Opportunities. So we hope to see these numbers improve as well. Just give me another minute there. Okay, thanks. Next slide. There is a lot in these next two slides, but of the barriers that are identified when looking for employment, all but one group rates bias due to age, disability, or other reasons as their biggest barrier. The quality of available jobs is also rated percentagely high, that there's a lack of quality jobs available for them. And really important, many report that pay and benefits are not sufficient to making a living. So when we take this, and we can go to the next slide as well, because that's a follow-up with some of our other groups. Thank you. When we take a look at this information, it starts to really paint a picture that, yes, this is an issue that we need to pay attention to. And then it also points to, well, how are we going to work through this? And the way that we decided, Director Wright, myself, Shantae, Al, on and on, Patrick Kuykendall, and a variety of others, is through this initiative to try to be able to help raise awareness, and then actually start a pilot program, which we'll be talking about in just a bit, where we will be receiving nominations, and we will walk people through the process, incentivizing them, and then walk them through the processes that are all already available in order to be able to promote you know, expanding further opportunities for folks. So next slide. Thank you very much. All right, so data is great, and it gives us a nice little window. We love it, but data, at least for us, is about people. And so we love hearing directly from people a little bit more than even data. So for the next hour, we are going to hear from folks. We have women veterans and minority veterans in these videos that we created, compilation videos that we created. We did this in partnership with the Arizona Department of Administration, the Arizona Department of Veterans Services, and Arizona at Work to support Governor Ducey's Veteran Hiring Initiative. And so please keep that in mind as you're watching the videos. These are snippets, if you will, of what's important to veterans that are currently working for the state of Arizona. And I think they will give us an eye into what their experience is what they're looking for with employment. And then after each video, I'll be calling on several of our panelists to get their insights and observations on what they've heard. All right, so without further ado, first video, please.
I feel most comfortable in an employment setting when there is diversity, when there is inclusion, where there is opportunity for growth, where there are no boundaries that I don't feel like I cannot reach or that I cannot feel like I can surpass. So I feel most comfortable where there's opportunity, diversity, and inclusion.
When I'm valued for my service time and all that I learned from being a soldier in the Army and serving the United States.
If you come in and you have a team that a team that can work, like welcome you in, just pick you up, show you how to do things, and with no stigma of, oh, well, he thinks he's better because he's a veteran, or he thinks he's better because he's this or that. You get those people that just come in and you get the team surrounding you and you go on and you do the job. You get things done. So that makes you feel really good whenever you're able to just come in with that seamless transition and move forward.
It's like a second home to me. You have a life at home and you have a life at work, and this is where you spend a very big majority of your life. So if I'm in a good state agency and I work well with the people, then I feel at home.
Okay. Excellent. Thanks, Tim. All right. So, you know what I'm gonna call on Director Fuentes first. Maria, you know, what resonates for you with what you just heard?
I mean, there are so many really critical things shared, and I really appreciate this way of sharing lived experience to couple it with data, because we know that that's critically important as we're working through best ways to help people. You know, I heard diversity, I heard feeling valued, I heard feeling like you're a part of a family, what that culture is in an office. But for me, when I think about this program and those voices, the most important thing that I want to make sure that I convey is that there's a lot of things I, as a manager or a head of an agency, can teach. I can teach you the programs, the processes, how to do a grant, how to run a commission. I can teach all of those things, but that added value that somebody has, that there are sometimes things we can't teach in an office setting, that I believe military service ingrains and teaches in people over time, that cultural component, that eagerness to serve, eagerness to learn, you know, that operational deployment of tasks. Those are so highly valued. I cannot stress that enough. And so that willingness to continue to serve in a different capacity and how transferable all of those things that we're hearing in that video and that we hear from so many servicemen and women who want to continue to serve and deploy these skills that they have gotten in an office setting. As a manager and head of an agency, I have seen it be so incredibly fruitful for us that I just want to make sure that is heard. And I'll say it as often as need be, because it's critical skills and culture that you bring to an office that is just, the value is tremendous.
That's awesome. Thank you, Maria. I really appreciate that. All right, if you'll stick around for this, yep, okay. So Anthony, I wanted to get you into the conversation. Anthony is the founder and CEO of Warrior Code, and he is going to speak to you next. And he is, Anthony, would you just mind introducing yourself real briefly, and then we'd love to hear what resonates for you with what you just heard.
Sure. Anthony Newkirk, Air Force veteran, ammunition specialist. So now actually been through a lot of stuff transitioning. So I'm glad these resources are out there now. They're really beneficial for especially the younger veterans that have experienced some trauma. But what I heard, just to piggyback on Maria's, is the diversity, the inclusion, seamless transition. Me now being the employer, a lot of this helps me to understand where I need to be with my employees. We're actually onboarding a new person every month now with our growth, but valuing what an employee brings to the table. So their lived experiences can benefit the others that come through our program. And so that's what I'm kind of hearing through this first video, is that, every individual has their own talents that they bring to the table, and that employers can benefit from veteran experience as well.
I think that's a wonderful point, Anthony. And you've been on the employee side of things, and now you're in charge. So I think that's a really that's a great piece of feedback, and that I think is lends an extra additional. You've seen both sides of it, in other words.
Yeah, I've seen both sides, and quite frankly, there's with these services that the previous speakers have offered, I think partnering with those type of organizations. Our organization deals with people that have fallen down, and we're just trying to help them get back up, whether it's been through substance abuse or prison or those type of things. We actually just picked up a veteran from prison. We're helping him transition. Another veteran that came through our program, he was really homeless. He's found housing. He got his driver's license back and his certification for nutritionist. So just caring for that veteran and meeting them where they're at is kind of our mission.
I think that's awesome. And part of what I look at you as a part of the workforce continuum, trying to help folks transition. You're not just an employer, but you're just an employer, you know what I mean? But you're an employer and also someone who's trying to get folks employed, which is kind of a nice position to be in.
It is. And I just want to make a point about that too, because a lot of times we're not dealing with the mental health issues. And so those are, we're actually an outpatient treatment center as well. Mm-hmm. And we have to look at the person as a complete human being. We actually have a gym here. We do mindfulness yoga, but having all those components along with the other resources that are available through the Be Connected Network greatly enhance, and it's that teamwork. We're getting that person all the resources they need.
Yeah, I just came up with this. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of it, but teamwork makes the dream work. And so maybe we could.
I had not heard that.
We've never heard that before at all. That is creative, so creative.
Marine, right? Yeah, stick with us. All right.
Let me share.
I'm sorry, what's that, Anthony?
Thanks for letting me share.
Absolutely. We really appreciate it. I love the work that you're doing and how you go about doing it. So
thank you.
I'm always happy to hear from you. All right. All right. So Patrick Kuykendall, I'd like to bring you on board and hear what you have to say.
Well, good morning, all, and good morning, all, and thanks for allowing me. What I saw in this video was an energy, a passion. The the employees were happy to be there because they've started their career in the military through the diversity, working with people of all different races and all different nationalities. And now they've brought that experience, that can-do attitude, that motivation, that knowledge into the state service. And that just sets the example for all Arizona employers that, you know, this is what a veteran brings to the table. They bring such a broad knowledge. They're drug-free, can-do attitude. They've got a global perspective. They bring so much to the table. But again, what I saw was energy, happiness, motivation, desire, and the ability to work with others, and no matter what the surroundings are. So thank you for the time.
That's great, Patrick. Yeah, I saw that too. That was one of the things that really came across. And we've done other videos with other veteran employees that are in in the private sector as well, not state government oriented like these. And they exude that same kind of motivation and encouragement. I think if you go back to the data and you look at that data, one of the principal things that's really important that comes out is I think when you see a drop in motivation of veterans is when they don't see potential for career advancement, because that's a hallmark of the veteran experience, right? Yeah. Okay, Wanda.
Thanks, Thomas. I didn't want to interrupt, so the hand up thing is working great. As an employer of veterans, 20% of our employees are veterans. I think, being an Arizona Veteran Supportive Employer is very, very important to get the training for the people, for the staff, so that they understand veterans, to make a place for veterans to meet and talk, is really great for an organization. But, what I really want to say is creating the climate, right? To make sure that as an employer, I have done everything I can to make the environment a good place for veterans to work. And so we've done all the things to become an Arizona Veteran Supportive Employer. And we've added other things, obviously, succession planning and helping and one-on-one coaching and those kinds of things, because veterans have some kind of expectation to be communicated with about how their career is going to go. And so I just offer that as an employer of an organization that employs a lot of veterans, that when you're thinking about hiring veterans and then when you hire them, just make sure that you have the right environment for them. That's all I had. Thanks, Thomas.
No, that's brilliant, Wanda. I really appreciate that. Yeah, and yeah, the hand raising thing is great, but feel free to just interrupt as well. So okay, great. We're gonna march on.
I think Tony has his hand up.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Tony. Yeah, please.
Yeah, thank you for that. So I piggyback off Director White's comments. Essentially, I mean, as an employer, we do try to educate. We do prepare the veterans, as much as we can for that transition and entering the private sector. My discussions often with employers is, what are you doing internally? Let's look at internally, and even just educating hiring managers, right? And again, what we're trying to challenge is the stereotype or the stereotypes that they have of veterans. But again, it's how do you educate your business, your hiring managers, your team leaders about the veteran community, and even take it to a point where when I'm consulting with businesses within their HR department, I often ask them, well, how many veterans are working for you within the HR department, and work under you or part of your team? And often when I see that they don't have any veterans working in there, or when they have veterans working with them, it helps them to build a veteran program. It helps them to become more veteran friendly, more veteran ready, because they can go directly to that source. Whether it's looking at a resume, because we're not very good at writing resumes, I'll be the first to say that. And it's just the way we're taught to write in the military. And we don't like to boast about ourselves. So that would just be another example of, what are you doing internally? Look at your programs and systems internally in terms of training your leadership and focus on your hiring managers as to, the quality and the value of veterans in its entirety, meaning, whether the individual is male, female, short, tall, short, whatever, but just educating them about the veterans themselves. So that's all I wanted to add to.
It's a wonderful point, Tony. I really appreciate that. Yeah. Wanda and I are really proud of one of the things that is going on and part of a Be Connected employer network. And that's kind of the extension of, or the network for the Arizona Veterans Supportive Employers. And in that, one of the first things that they produced was a employee resource group, veteran affiliated employee resource group guide to how to start those up. There's a lot of iterations, there's a lot of, but there are huge benefits from doing that. And once those are established, can then start to develop mentoring programs. They can start to, encourage more military cultural competency. Exactly what you said about, the advocacy of getting HR folks into HR departments that are actual veterans, things like that. That's really, really important. Okay, awesome. Thanks so much. All right. Cue the next video, please.
Been looking for a career that's meaningful to me. One employer that would stand out more than the rest would be one that matches my values and my purpose. I want to follow my own path, and I think that Arizona State matched my purpose and my values in what they're trying to do with conservation in this state.
I truly believe that whenever you find something that you're passionate for, that kind of helps them rise above the rest, instead of being a job that, just a 9 to 5, I'm here to just do my job and go home type thing. It kind of helps not only fill that position, but also help the individual with that job satisfaction, that what they're doing is actually meaningful. And it helps them to want to actually do it and do it to the best of their ability.
For me is your job, do you have a purpose? So that's another one of the reasons that I love working for the state, for state government. I like working for the state because I feel like I have a purpose every day. So if you're working for, the private sector, it's generally about numbers, it's about capital, but when you work for a state government, your stakeholders are the community and the taxpayers. So at the end of, every workday, I feel like that I've done something meaningful and with purpose.
Their interest in who you are as a person and what you have to offer to their agency, their organization. You're not just a number. You're not just another position in a process. Where the people are much more important than the process, then that's when you found an employer that you want to work for.
Awesome. Next slide. All right. I mean, I love the music. We can keep listening to that for a little while if everyone wants to kind of do a little dance. But all right. Jacqueline Zepp, who is the employment coordinator for the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs, Phoenix Regional Office. What stands out for you? What's missing from the comments you just heard?
There you go. You can hear me.
We can. Thank you.
And is my video on? It is.
It is.
Very good. So sure. So as I listened to these comments related to veterans seeking a meaningful career and what makes one employer stand out from another, I heard some very important words like values, passion, and purpose. And I felt like this was a common thread with these veterans comments. They want to work in an environment where they find that an employer portrays their values, that they have that passion in their career field or interests, and that they feel like their career gives them a purpose or that they're making a difference. This is what gives them the drive to be successful in a career with a good employer. I like to speak to my experience as an employment coordinator, especially when working with veterans and identifying where they would like to seek employment or which employers they'd like to work for. I see some of these same characteristics or hear some of the same words as what type of an employer or employment opportunity they're seeking. But in addition, I do hear our veterans say that they like working as a team. They like to work as a team. They want to serve in a position where they're helping people or serving their fellow veterans. And they want to work for an employer that's going to provide them with clear direction, is going to respect them and understand their skill sets that they bring to the workplace. And also that there's a sense of cohesiveness or also a family environment. Ultimately, in my experience, I want to say that veterans want to work in an environment where there is diversity. There is an opportunity for promotion. They are respected, their skills are valued, and that they feel that they have a purpose. And in my position as an employment coordinator, I look at it this way. It's not just about referring veterans to jobs and to employers, but really about matching up veterans to positions and organizations based on their interests and their passions. And we heard that word passion, their aptitudes and their abilities. And I found this is what has been very successful in our veterans being able to not just secure that employment, but also being able to maintain it. They have that passion or drive for that career field, and they also have a really good employer that they're working for.
Hey, and Jacqueline, that was fantastic. I think it's, you know, it's a stone cold fact that the military is probably the most diverse and inclusive employer in the, I don't know, maybe the world. Yeah, and the passion that comes out of it, especially with today's all volunteer force, is awesome. So it would make sense that we would be looking for that in future employment. Those are great words. Thank you, Jackie. Appreciate it. All right, Mr. Hector Acosta.
Good morning,
Director of
everyone.
Military and Veteran Services for Pima Community College. What do you think?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to be with you and participate here today. I'm going to give you my comments from the academic side of view. Okay. One of the things we see with our young veterans that are transitioning out of active force and out of many war environments and situations is they don't know what they don't know. So one of the things when we sit down with them and we ask them, okay, what do you think you'd like to do in the civilian world? And there's this sense of, well, I was a mechanic, so I guess I'm going to be auto mechanic. I said, no, I didn't ask you that question. I asked you, what do you think you'd like to do? And we are constantly having to reinforce to them that they can do anything they want because they bring to the table what was addressed on the first video: the work ethic, loyalty, hardworking, sense of responsibility, mission-oriented folks, team players, team builders. That's the kind of stuff that you can't teach in a classroom. You learn it living it. And when we get that through their system, we can then get them with confidence into the academic track they want to pursue for a career. So for us, one of the things that I think we need to get across to employers is that veterans by nature are service-oriented. They're humble. They are not going to be the first ones up until they embrace where they're working and they feel embraced by who they're working for. So an example, for me, 25 years in the Army, officer, all that other stuff. I show up at Pima Community College, and the first thing I'm getting beat up about, I guess the way to say it is, I address everyone as ma'am and sir. It was a constant, I'm not trying to be rude or saying that you're old, I'm being respectful. If you're my boss and you're 20 years old, but you're my boss, it's yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, that's what I need to do. But it's that there's that sense of we military types are too rigid, too square, and we're not. We're just trying to figure out how to operate. And once we get it figured out, we're yours. If you hire a veteran and they buy into your mission, buy into your organization, and feel the same, they will be the first ones there. They'll stay after work and not ask for more money. They're going to be above and beyond your hardest worker and your biggest advocate. And that has been my experience as we transition our young veterans from a 2-year associate's degree into the workforce. But that's what I think it's important that a lot of our employers understand. We have a very unique skill set. They could have been an infantry officer, an infantry soldier on the ground, but when they get out and they learn how to do what you want them to do, they're going to be your star performers.
Hey, Hector, spoken as a previous infantry man. Yeah, kudos to that. All right, awesome. We have Anthony, and then who's raised his hand, and then Wanda.
Thanks, Thomas. Something I didn't mention previously is that I don't want to stray too far off topic from what we're discussing today as far as minority and women. And so in our organization, I think it's important to make sure we're culturally sensitive and recognizing that there's different cultures and every culture brings something to the table. Also, to make sure we appreciate the leadership women can bring. Obvious example is Wanda. And so I think it's very important that we recognize in all our organizations that women are an important cog in this sector. Thank you.
That's great, Anthony, and thanks for bringing us back home. Wanda?
Just one comment. I do believe that there are better employers than others. And it's the work that an employer does to make sure that they have an understanding of what veterans have. Hector said it beautifully about all the skills that we bring with us just because of the discipline of the military. And if agencies can have an understanding of what that is and really take advantage of it, honestly, because I do, they will have an excellent employee. And so that's really my only comment. Thank you, Thomas.
No, I appreciate that, Wanda. That's awesome. All right. I'm going to move on to the next video. I think that's a good time to do this.
My discipline, learning how to be disciplined in the way that you think, having a very, very high set of morals for the way we behave ourselves and the way that we treat others. And absolutely the discipline of commitment to getting up, going to a job, having that sense of loyalty, working for an agency, even though there's better opportunities out there around you. And what I mean by better, I mean better paying. Not necessarily do you focus on the reward of pay, but you focus on the reward of being a public servant.
Some of the knowledge that helped me working for the state, coming from the military, I want to say it was the attention to detail, the holding each other accountable. A lot of things was understanding the chain of command.
What I brought with me more so than anything was dedication. Okay, because I was dedicated to the military and I'm also dedicated to my job. So that's the biggest thing that you bring with you.
The skills of being able to talk to people, the skills of understanding a rank structure, of a command system, of understanding that there's a process to everything. It's not just black and white, there's processes to that.
I had a sense of teamwork where I would help the others, more of a sense of teamwork, where I help others with their duties in addition to mine. I also didn't, I'd say, crack under stress from the pressures at work. Once you go to the military, you realize you're able to endure a lot more stress. And so when you come back, nothing bothers you at a state job compared to what was in a military job.
The things I learned in the military, especially teamwork, became super beneficial, especially working in a government setting where you have people from different cultures, different backgrounds, different political ideologies, yet and still, we're all still able to work together. And I think a lot of that comes from my experience in the military of working with such a diverse cast of people.
All right, thanks. Okay, so I'd like to introduce our next group. Any of the former panelists can feel free to pitch in as well, but first up we have Ayla Linder. She is the program manager for a brand new position for the Arizona Coalition for Military Families. We built a program and now we're at the point of managing and continuing process improvements, and Ayla is the lead on that. So Ayla, start us off.
Thank you so much, Thomas, for that introduction. And just listening to these videos, the thing that stood out to me the most was that as an Air Force veteran myself and going into new workplaces throughout the last 3 or 4 years after my service ended, was that these members bring with them so much experience, but just the ability to handle stress under pressure, right? So the fact that we do handle a lot of stress, it doesn't matter what branch that you served in, whether you were Guard, Reserve, active duty, enlisted, or officer, we all have that stress in the military. And we find ways to cope with the stress, hopefully all positive, obviously some negative, but going into the civilian sector, we bring with us those skills, and those videos of those members and their experiences of what they bring with them was very interesting to hear, and that those skills will be with them for the life, you know, with their career development as they grow in their role and their you know, movement throughout their career. They're going to continue to have that teamwork, the ability to just pitch right in and jump right into projects and to learn quickly. And then these employees are going to be especially minority and women veterans, right? Being a woman veteran myself, having barriers and things like that. Being able to educate ourselves so that we understand the employment world after we get out. We're going to be doing a lot more research than someone who may not have as many barriers, because we have to prepare ourselves. And I felt it was very interesting to see that bringing those skills to the workplace is going to help those employers you know, have a complete package. When they onboard a minority or a woman veteran, they're going to have someone who is very highly educated, not necessarily on paper, but street smart, right? They're going to understand how to assimilate into that civilian sector, how to learn, ask questions, but most importantly, give and continue giving, just as they did in the military. So very interesting points and contributions from each of these members in the videos.
That's awesome, Ayla. I really appreciate that. It's I think you know, while you were talking, we had Jeff Fleetum. He's a state agency director, and he just said, "I have experienced the tremendous skill sets." Just moved up on me. Sorry, tremendous skill set and value added our veteran colleagues bring to the team. We are a small agency that has over 20% of our staff veterans, Guard and Reserve. And so I think that goes to that point that once an employer figures out the high quality of veterans in their workforce, and then they figure out how to attract veterans to their employment, I think you've got a winning combination for some great teams. All right, let's see. Yes, so I think next we have Kim D'Artez. She's the founder and CEO of Compass D'Artez, and I'd like to hear your thoughts. What was the most salient point you heard?
I think the number one thing that jumped out at me was loyalty and the ability to want to stick with the project, and pride. And as a small business owner, I really do strive to attract minority folks and bring them into the trade world. Our company, we do highway construction, so it's kind of a specialized area when we work around traffic control. So we want to try to get those Davis-Bacon wages for folks. We reach out to our vets, we reach out to our minority women, we reach out to the underserved community. And that's one of the one of the goals and one of the things that I've seen from our veterans was the loyalty, was the discipline. It's pretty exciting when you bring people into an area that they've not really known and they get a hold of it. We've had the ability to work on like the 202 project or freeway, for example. And then some of our guys were then asked from the union, and they began to learn like heavy equipment operating. So,
Wow.
you know, we want to be able to give an opportunity for folks to not only get a living wage, but also some skill sets that they can take with them wherever they go.
Hey, Kim, thank you. I really appreciate that, because I think the, you know, the small business business person perspective is not always included in this. So I appreciate you being with us, and of course to Wanda for you know, connecting us so that we could chat. It's great, and I appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah. So stick around. We're gonna circle back around here and open it up just a little bit. But I wanted to get to Carrie. And Carrie, what's the most salient points you've heard, or any other thing you'd like to talk about?
So not really a word that I heard, but it's a common theme from all of them, and it's adaptability. Veterans come with so many skill sets already. We've already overcome a lot of biases. You know, you go in with a mindset, oh my gosh, I will never be able to work with this type of person. In the military, you're forced to work with them. You know, even your own personal biases. Oh my gosh, this is going to hold me back or whatever. And you find out you can accomplish more than what you thought, right? You're a lot more successful than what you thought. So we leave the military with that mindset that, you know, nothing can hold us back. I'm going to fit in no matter what scenario. We have all the foundational skills to be successful in any type of role. You know, it's just give it the opportunity to be able to show those skill sets there. But adaptability, I mean, discipline and thinking, high level morals, you know, attention to detail, dedication, you know, they all brought up things that make them adaptable to any type of environment. So that's the main thing that I heard or got from hearing these veterans there talking. So even as a Air Force veteran myself, I've seen that, you know, when I went into the military, oh my gosh, I can't do this, I can't do that. And you really, you really are able to learn to push yourself, right? So when you come out of the military, you have that there. We may not know some of, you know, the ins and outs of certain things, but having all these folks out there and knowing that they're out there in the world to help us out, just to navigate those ins and outs, it really does help. But once we're in there, we got all the skills to be successful, and we know we will, you know.
I like that last comment, that we know we will, you know, there is a certain sense of, and it was replicated when the individual spoke about, you know, that you go off and you have all this stressful stuff in the military, and then you come back and it's like, yeah, I can handle this, you know. I just love that, because it's true. And so really appreciate that. Wanda, what do you think? What do you have to add to this conversation?
I usually have a lot of words. But I think, at least for me, and I'll just tell a quick story. I retired in 2011 after 26 years of military. And it was during the sort of the financial instability after the real estate market kind of crashed a little bit. And so organizations were shrinking. And I came out just as the time where the economy was not doing great, right? And so, you know, I think of myself having some skills, you know, I know stuff. I started a year before my retirement to try to find a job. And over that year, I got one interview, one. And I know I sent out hundreds of resumes. And by the end of that year, I did not have a job. And so, you know, it's really important, you know, when we're transitioning out to a workplace, one, that there is work, that would help. And then the other thing is, you know, when we come out and we're trying to figure out like what we need to do, I think it's awesome that all of these programs, service providers, and the VA, DOL have all these programs to support us now that weren't there when I was there. And that was just 2011. So it is important to have these programs. It's important that employers know about these programs. And it's also important that the veterans have access to the current community that they're transitioning into. And so what I mean by that, you know, we have 5 military installations here. All the service members who leave, transition out, don't necessarily want to stay in Arizona. But wouldn't it be great if Arizona could give a warm handoff to Wisconsin? Hey, our veteran's leaving Luke Air Force Base. He's coming to Wisconsin. What are some of the resources they can get into right now? Or even if they stay in Arizona, do they know to call Department of Veterans Services? So it's a lot about communicating to our service providers and our potential employees and just veterans for that matter, to make sure they get educated about all the stuff that's available. Thanks, Thomas.
Hey, thank you, Wanda. And sorry, Tony, did I take your clapping as a hand raised?
No,
if I did, I apologize. Yeah. Okay, it is.
I just raised my hand as well.
Okay, good.
Yeah, you know, here I am. I'm piggybacking off of Director Wright, and as well as you know, Carrie, her comments. You know, and again, when we're referencing, you know, Carrie and talking about you know, addressing biases. So again, I want to reinforce that as well, or reiterate that you know, you said it earlier as well. You know, the United States military is the most diverse organization in the world. And, you know, we've got individuals in there from all across the United States, as well as individuals, you know, attaining citizenship through joining the military. And whatever biases we have, and it doesn't matter where you come from, they're going to be challenged. And in that challenge, you're also going to learn that your biases are not true. So that develops the veteran. It doesn't, they get to work with an individual that looks like me and come to respect me as an individual. They have to respect the rank, but it's about earning the respect from your subordinates and peers as an individual. And these biases are challenged by that because, you know, Carrie mentioned, and you said it as well, we have to work together. You know, teamwork makes the dream work, right? So, and then the other part of this is, you know, with Director Wright speaking to, you know, how do we do these handoffs? You know, and again, for me, it's more about, I like to educate the employers and the employers, you know, and the great work that you guys are doing there. You know, Thomas, your team with Arizona Coalition of Military Families, you know, the state of Arizona in its entirety, the nonprofits, everyone there. And I've been in Arizona since 2011, and it's always been a good state when it comes to the veteran and veteran community where I work in. So what I just want to say is, you know, there are programs out there. I would just encourage the audience, the employers, to look at, you know, what does the VA offer, and how does that, how can that be molded or complement your recruitment program, right? Whether it's a skill bridge program, whether it's, you know, working with the Department of Labor vets, a transitioning service member out of an Air Force base there in Arizona, wanting to go to Wisconsin, well, we can connect that individual with resources there as well. But again, it's also understanding the employers educating themselves on the programs and services to augment and complement their recruitment, their hiring, and then the retaining of that veteran. So those are my comments right now.
Tony, that's awesome, and I really appreciate those comments. All right, we've got a couple other hands up. I'm seeing Hector.
Yes, just to add on to what Tony was stating, at the college, like I said, we try very hard to provide every service possible to our student veterans as they come into the college. One we had the opportunity to bring in Eli Crane. I don't know if any of you know, he's the founder of Bottle Breacher. We had him come in, speak to our veterans that were interested in business and entrepreneurship and that kind of stuff. And he shared with us a story that resonated with me. Because he's a SEAL. Those of you who don't know him, he was a SEAL while he was in service. Saw a lot of combat and all that stuff. And one of the things he just strives very hard to is hire veterans. He hires veterans. And he shared with us how he had met a veteran doing something exercise oriented. And he had told him, why don't you apply in my company, see if I can get you hired. And the young man did. And his HR department was unaware of this. So his application went in. His HR department was looking for someone that was computer savvy, aware of some programs. Well, this young man was an infantry guy, and he didn't know much about computers. So he didn't get the nod. Eli found out, so he asked the HR person why he wasn't hired. He said, well, he didn't have any of the computer training we were after. And Eli shared with us that he asked the HR person to reach out to him again and bring him in for a second interview. Because as Eli said, anybody can teach you how to work a computer and its software. What Eli was after was a hard-working veteran, someone he could depend on to be there to get the orders out and work the extra time and commit the extra effort that was customer service oriented, that was flexible, and all of those things that is not going to be annotated in a piece of paper. And that was a story that resonated with me. And I've used that story every time I sit with young veterans that are looking at applying at Caterpillar or Raytheon or at the college or at the university in Tucson, our biggest employers, and tell them, don't underestimate what you bring to the table. Sell yourself positively. Look at what does the agency that you're applying for want, and how does the skill set that you have learned in the military support or enhance that? And if you can articulate that in an interview, I guarantee you're going to get to the decision maker before a final decision will be made. But getting through that first screening has to be about being positive of who you are and what you bring, because you can't put a price tag on what the military teaches young people to do, and nothing is impossible to them given the opportunity. And that's all I just had to share.
Thanks, Hector. I appreciate that. Carrie, did you have something to add to that? You looked like you were nodding your head quite a bit.
I definitely agree with him. Like I said, in the military, you find out what you're really made of and you surprise yourself, and I think just like everybody is kind of saying, times have changed. I think you can kind of see here, we've had veterans that have put themselves in really great positions to help other veterans. And I think being a veteran and getting out now and saying, wow, I'm talking to another veteran, that alone helps with that adaptability, into that organization, to have that nice transition with someone who understands your background, what you've been through and everything. So it's really great to see that nowadays, that it's just getting even better. And the amount of resources that you see in Arizona, oh my gosh, it's just wonderful. I've seen other states on social media saying, oh my gosh, Arizona has a really great support system for veterans, and it's just only getting better here.
And I think we're all a part of the team that is determined to make it so that service members, veterans, and their families get exactly what what they need, deserve, and should have in order to be able to succeed wildly with meaningful careers. All right. So I think I saw one last hand raise, Felicia. And if you can make that quick, that would be awesome. And then, but I want to make sure that you've got an opportunity. And then we'll-
Absolutely. Thank you, Thomas. So I just wanted to piggyback off what everybody said about all of the videos, and especially, first Hector, and Director Wright, right? I did the same thing. I sent out one resume to 80 employers and I got one call back for a job so easy, probably a monkey could do it. And once I conquered that job in the first 3 weeks, I just got really bored and, try to figure it out. But to segue into what Hector said, it's really important to do those resumes. And part of our team, speaking from the Be Connected Career Navigation team, the resumes are our huge focus, just trying to get them to the interview, because we all know once we get an interview, most of the time we can kill it. So really just targeting that resume to each individual job posting or job position, and then having the in, as we do with all of our employers. And then the final thing I would like to say is to piggyback off what Maria said in the beginning. Those employers, I implore employers to really look at the soft skills. Don't look at the hard skills. You can teach anybody anything. You can teach somebody to manage a program. You can teach somebody to use Gmail and Google Suite and everything like that. You cannot teach what we have been taught in the military, a degree, a PMP or anything like that can all be taught easy. Soft skills you cannot teach. And that is all, Thomas. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. So Maria, Anthony, Patrick, Jacqueline, Hector, Ayla, Carrie, Kim, thank you. Tony, thank you very much for this conversation. That was fantastic. We now have you recorded for the rest of time, and so we will be pushing those out to help educate the broader community. So this was a really important conversation that we just had. So thank you. All right, so I want to talk with you a little bit about what we're actually doing, the actual program, because I think that's important. And may as well, right? And then Wanda's going to wrap us up with a call to action that ye should better heed. All right, here we go. Career Navigation Plus program criteria. We're looking for nominations for minority veteran and or women veterans. They need to agree to actively participate in the Career Navigation Plus program. Next slide. The participant or nominator completes a nomination form. That's fairly simple. We've got the links here. You've got the links in the flyer that brought you here. Feel free to supply that or nominate multiple folks. You can also do an enrollment call with the Be Connected team, and that'll be gathering participant information. We will be scheduling a one-on-one with a career specialist and conduct a resource review with the individual to remove all of those barriers that get in the way: transportation, housing, the lack of upskill or certifications, you name it. There's a lot of resources out there, legal issues to be able that we have the capacity to be able to resolve through the Be Connected program. And then they'll be provided with $100 towards essential needs upon enrollment, gas card, food card. We can do a variety of different things, whatever the individual may need. We've got some openness with that. Next slide. And then, what we're really looking for, the ultimate goal is meaningful employment. And notice how we say meaningful employment as opposed to career success. Meaningful employment is, as you heard from the videos and from the panelists, is incredibly important for folks. And it's not always just like a, kind of a pure success model. They're looking for typically number one or number two priority is that they have something that they're doing that's meaningful in their lives. So the program goal is to help people advance on their career seeking journey. That means that there's a little openness to what the end result is. If we get folks into a college program or a certificate program, that may be completion for that person. We're still going to be tracking and working with them to get them to meaningful employment, but we also want to be reasonable about timeframes and things like that. So program completion, as I said, complete one-on-one with career specialists. That's a video or a phone call. participate in resume interview workshops. We got to get that resume just rocking. And the team that we have does crazy good jobs with that, and so I would really encourage folks to be engaged with that. And there are other resources that we have that can assist with that as well. Use workforce programs and other resources as needed. We are doing this kind of hand in hand with the Arizona Department of Economic Security Arizona at Work program. So all of their what's called DVOPS, or Disabled Veteran Outreach Program, all of those folks, the folks from the VBA, everyone who's going to be following me talking, doing informational sessions, they're all skilled in these various elements. And so we're going to be working with various members of the population to be able to make sure that we're able to get them where they need to go first, and then start working with them through all these different elements. Create and build a LinkedIn profile. Holy mackerel, is LinkedIn important these days, right? Participate in virtual networking event, and that's where we connect employers and folks to ensure that they're connecting in a variety of different ways. And then complete a program survey. We want to know what the experience was. And then upon completion, the participant can receive an additional $150 towards essential needs. But along the way, they've got access to various funding streams like the Veteran Toolkit, which the governor and Wanda mentioned. We've got access to free certification programs through O2O and no cost programs through WIOA and the Department of Economic Security Arizona at Work program. There's a ton out there. And so there's really no reason why someone can't be on a journey to be able to, find meaningful employment. So with that, I will hand it over to Wanda. Take it away.
Thanks, Thomas. So, when you got your invitation, we invite you to join other veteran key stakeholders for the Be Connected Career Navigation Plus statewide program launch. You're like, wow, what does that mean? Well, what it means is that we've called upon you as community members, as service providers, as employers, service members and veterans who might happen to be in our audience, even spouses and other connected, military connected people, to ask you to nominate a veteran who you think might need support in their career navigation. And as Thomas just sort of laid out the program, we'd really like to see a focus on minority veterans and women veterans. So if they're in your collective ecosystems and you see that they're working at Circle K and it's not a career kind of job, and they're complaining to you that, I'm really underserved here by working here, I really want a purpose, I really want to be adaptable, I really want to be some of the things that they've said in these videos, then send them our way. We have 100 spots for this. That's $250 if they complete the program, as well as all the resources that Thomas was talking about that we can provide through the various programs that the Governor's Office of Youth, Faith and Family has, the Arizona Coalition has, the AZDBS has, and that the VA has. And so, the call to action to each one of you who are on this virtual event is to go out and find a veteran who could use a better job, or who wants to seek a career in something meaningful, and send them in our direction so that we can help them find that wonderful career. And I guess I would ask, does anybody have any questions before we move on to our next section?
What is the process for nominating someone?
Thomas?
All right, great question. Really, it's very simple. We have a link. We can probably put the link up now. It is also on the informational form. We will also be pushing it out again after this in email follow-up to this event, so that you have that kind of at the ready. If you're just not into links, then you know what? Don't worry about it. All you have to do is call the Be Connected support line, and the number is 1-866-4-AZ-VETS, VETS, 1-866-4-AZ-VETS. And that's our Be Connected support line. And you say, I want to nominate someone for, that program that helps support, women veterans or minority veterans, and they'll know what you're talking about. And then they'll help you walk through that process verbally. So we've tried to make it as easy as possible. The nomination form is not terribly long, not long at all, really. And there's a few things. If you just get us the name and kind of their address and that type of stuff, then that'll help. And then we can make a connection with them and go from there. Does that help?
Excellent. Thank you. Yes.
Any other questions? Sorry, Wanda.
No, that's what I was going to ask. Thanks, Thomas. And maybe we could put in in our comments the link, the phone number and the link. Whoever's got that.
We'll get that in the chat in just a moment. Absolutely. All right, you good? Awesome. All right. So next slide, going to introduce Walter Strong. He is the VR&E officer for the Phoenix VA Regional Office, and he is going to talk to you about some of the programs that they have. Walter, all yours.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Thomas, for allowing me to speak this morning to you great folks and tell you about the awesome things that the VA does. So again, I work, I'm a Department of Veterans Affairs employee. There are 3 administrations under the Department of Veterans Affairs. There's the Veterans Healthcare Administration, which are primarily the VA hospitals, the largest of our administration. Then there's the Veterans Benefits Administration, which I work for. And then there's also the National Cemetery Administration. So today I'm going to be talking a little bit, a couple of slides about first the services that VHA provides, and then secondly, the VBA, what the VBA provides. So I'm not an expert on all things VHA, but I can give some general comments about that. And then the second slide, when we get into the VBA stuff, I'm a little bit more versed with that. But anyways, I appreciate everyone listening and everybody that's involved in this very great project. So first of all, I'd like to talk about the stuff from the on the VHA side of things, which I believe is our next slide. So what we have, just a general overview of the Veterans Healthcare Administration is the main thing that you think of is the VA medical centers. Most states have several. We have 3 here in Arizona, Prescott here in Phoenix, and also in Tucson. I many times when I've, in my personal life, when I've told people I work for the VA, they immediately say, oh, you work for the hospital. And well, no, I work for the VBA a mile down the road, but the VHA is frequently what is thought of when you meet a VA employee. But we of course have the VA medical centers that provide quality healthcare to our veterans. Also, we have the second thing, they're community-based outpatient clinics. Those are clinics out in the communities. At one point in time, before we had these community-based outpatient clinics, veterans would have to go drive a long way to get to a local VHA facility. So we've added more community-based outpatient clinics around the state and the nation. They're generally staffed with a general practitioner, but that has been a really big win for veterans. To not have to drive so far for some of the health care that they need. We also have our vet centers, which can provide some excellent counseling to our veterans, they're having adjustment issues and things like that. They've added ambulatory care over the years. We have a lot of female veterans specifically that receive specific services through our women's clinic. We continue to have the OEF, OIF, and OND clinic, which is Operation Enduring Freedom, Operation Iraqi Freedom, and Operation New Dawn. So there's a clinic for that specific subset of veterans, which was our latest the most recent kind of military action that we had. So the VHA is making sure that they're working with those veterans. And then we also have a homeless veteran program, which is very, very important. And sadly, there's a lot of homeless veterans. I know Arizona, I guess, because of the climate, seems to have a big homeless population. So then at the bottom, there's a couple of contact lines. There's the crises line that a veteran can call and press 1, and then there's the healthcare eligibility line, just to determine what benefits a veteran is entitled to at the VHA. So kind of a high level view of the VHA, and they're great partners with us at the VBA, which is here on my next slide, the Veterans Benefits Administration. I've been working for the Veterans Benefits Administration for 21 years. You've already heard from Mr. Cavalli, our acting director at the Phoenix Regional Office this morning, and also Jacqueline Zepp, who's an employment coordinator for the Veteran Readiness and Employment Division, which is the division I lead. But just to go through some of the things that we do at the VBA, the big piece of it is the compensation, the disability compensation. Veterans that have disabling conditions that have resulted from their service to our nation can file claims for compensation and get a monthly compensation amount or check to help them with their living needs, because of the injuries that they received during their service to the nation. So that's the biggest piece of what we do. And I know that again, 21 years I've been here, and the compensation folks, you got to get those vets. That's the immediate need. Sometimes we need money to subsist off of, and so we are doing a great job of getting those claims rated very quickly and getting those compensation out to those deserving veterans. So that is kind of the biggest piece of what the VBA does. But there are some other things that we do as well. The home loans. Our home loan regional loan center works with veterans to help them obtain home loans. That's a very big program for us, and a great benefits to veteran, but that falls under the Veterans Benefits Administration. And then the third thing is my area, veteran readiness and employment. So I can talk a little bit more intelligibly about that. We were formerly vocational rehabilitation and employment, but in June of 2020, we changed to veteran readiness and employment, which seemed, the name I think has it kind of more closely reflects what we do, get veterans ready so they can become employed. We're still providing vocational rehabilitation and employment services. What we do is we work with service-connected disabled veterans that are 10% or greater rated for service connection, and we assist those veterans in overcoming any impairments to employment that might have been caused by their service-connected disabling conditions. And so we work with veterans to get them back to work. That's our thing. Disabilities could have affected a veteran to where they can't do the thing that they used to could do, or what they were trained to do, or even have difficulty on their current job because of their service-connected disabling conditions. We can provide services to help them overcome that impairment and then become suitably and gainfully employed in another occupation within their interests, aptitudes, and abilities. So any veteran that's 10% or higher rated can apply for VRNE benefits. We will bring that veteran in. They will be met by a counselor who will determine if they have an employment handicap. Does the disabilities caused by their service-connected, does the limitations caused by their service-connected disabilities cause them to be unable to work within their current training or skill set? And then if that is the case and they do have an impairment to employment, the counselor will develop a comprehensive plan of service to help them overcome the employment handicap. When they have overcome that employment handicap, we refer them to an employment coordinator, which is what Mrs. Zepp is that spoke earlier. And we help those veterans then find employment after they've overcome their employment handicap. So it's kind of a continuum of care, so to speak, kind of thing. We evaluate the veteran, determine if they're entitled. Then we determine what that specific veteran needs, and then we put that in a plan. And then we provide the services to help them get the things that they need. And then when they've completed those services and are employable, we help them get a job. So we're all about getting the veteran to work. It's very individualized. Every veteran's different. I think we have the coolest job in the world because we get to sit down, the counselors in our division get to sit down with veterans and actually see them at this point. And then because of the great services that this great agency allows us to grant to them, they get to this point and they're suitably and gainfully employed. And that not only changes their lives, it changes their families' lives. And the counselor, builds a relationship with that veteran over 2 or 3, maybe even 4 or 5 year period. So it's a really, really cool, really kind of cool job. And I always think we have the best job in the building, I always say. But so there are 5 possible tracks to employment. If a veteran is found entitled to VRD benefits, then there's 5 things that we could look at, or 5 tracks of services that we could look at to assist that veteran. The first one is the reemployment track. And those are veterans that have the USERRA rights, the Uniformed Services Employment and Reemployment Rights Act. So reservists and National Guard, they're deployed, they come back, maybe they had an injury or something while they were deployed, and they still have the rights to go back to that same employer. And so we can provide services to help that veteran go back to the same employer, or go to even if it's a different job within that same organization. That's the first track of what we do. The second would be rapid access to employment track. The rapid access to employment track is for veterans that already have some reasonably developed skills. And maybe all they need is help with interview skills. I think Tony said something about that earlier, maybe needing help with interview skills. So we can help them with interview skills. We can help them, with resume development. They might not need any other thing. They may have the skills they need to work, but they just need some help with presenting themselves and work with one of our employment coordinators to do that. That's the rapid access to employment track. We have another track, the self-employment track. That's a small sliver of what we do. But occasionally we have veterans that are so severely disabled that the only type of work they could do would be self-employment. And so we work with them to help them work with the SBA. So the SBA can help them in procuring loans, helping them develop a business plan. So we kind of help coordinate that for the veteran. The biggest piece of what we do is the employment through long-term services track. That's when a veteran needs some training to become employed. And that is kind of the biggest set of our caseload. Veterans come in, maybe they were, I'll just use the Air Force as an example. Love all our service or all our services equally, but let's just use the Air Force for this example. You have a veteran that maybe was an airframe mechanic and they were 20 years in the Air Force. During that 20 years, they hurt their shoulder, they hurt their knee, they hurt their back. So they discharged from the military. Now, while that's a great skill to have that has some transferability to a civilian employment, you might not be able to do that same type of job because of the limitations associated with the knee, the back, the shoulder. So what VRD services can do is we can assist that veteran and provide them a different type of training. I always use the example, maybe they train to be an accountant or business management. That wouldn't be as labor intensive. That's kind of a 30,000 foot view of what we do. I've been using that example for 21 years. I should probably change my examples at some point, but I think that one still works. It's just basically if the disability keeps you from working within the areas that you're currently working or in your areas of training, then we can provide, services to help the veteran become employable. that the employment through long-term services tract is primarily we put people in training, community colleges, universities. We could do vocational, more vocationally oriented things, certification programs, and we pay for the the veteran's tuition. And we also pay a monthly living stipend for the veteran as well. So that's the biggest piece of the work.
Hey, that's great, Walter. I really appreciate that. I know you were just wrapping up. I can give you another 20 seconds and then we'll.
Okay. Independent living is for veterans that are so severely disabled that they can't go back to work. We can provide services to help them become more independent in their daily life. The other things we have is pension, life insurance, and then the education benefits, which is the Chapter 33 benefits, primarily GI Bill. So anyways, I guess time just flies when you're having fun, right? So 12 minutes have elapsed and I appreciate the time to speak.
That's great. Thank you so much, Walter. Really appreciate everything you do. All right, next we have Patrick Kuykendall. He's the State Veterans Manager for the Arizona Department of Economic Security, and he's going to talk to us about all the great programs there.
Good morning, all. Pat Kuykendall, I'm the State Veterans Manager for the Arizona at Work Jobs for Veterans State Grant, and honored to be here to be part of this symposium. And thanks, Thomas and Director Wright and Department of Labor and everybody on this for allowing us to be part of this program. Next slide. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, the Jobs for Veterans State Grant helps support through the Department of Economic Security and Department of Rehabilitation and Services and the JVSG, Job for Veterans State Grant, helps veterans with barriers to employment work with partners, employers to find the jobs that fit the needs of their barriers. We provide employment services at our Arizona at Work offices. Currently, we have 13 of 47 offices, but we will be opening some more soon. And we're partnering, as I said earlier, we're a division of Employment and Rehabilitation Services. Next slide, please. Okay, we have the business services team, which includes our local veteran employment reps. They work in collaboration with local businesses. They support engagement with employers through a single point of contact. Our service teams promote the Arizona Veterans Supportive Employer Award. We also work with the Hire Vets Medallion Program and the employment and training, or through vets to the employers. Next slide, please. Our DVOPs, our Disabled Veteran Outreach Specialists for our Veterans Priorities level, provide more of an individual career services which meet the employment needs of our veterans and those eligible with significant barriers to employment. And this includes our homeless and our disabled vets, focusing those who are economically or educationally disadvantaged. Our DVOPs provide case management, facilitate employment through workforce preparation, and also are able to refer eligible clients to our local veteran employment reps for job development and referrals to specific employers. Next slide. Our levers are very important in our business service, our delivery, because they provide outreach to employments, do a lot of training, facilitation, work with unions, our apprenticeship programs, and work with state and private businesses. They also conduct job search workshops and establish job search groups to help those veterans, clients, and our DVOPs find a great placement for those with employers across the great state of Arizona. They also do a lot of presentations out in the community to civic groups and also employment conferences to share the resources available through Arizona Work, and they consult with employers to help tailor plans and comprehensive job announcements that will go on our Arizona Job Connection website. Next slide. They also promote programs that offer licensing and credentials, and that would be through our apprenticeship program. We also do labor market information, labor market analysis that is provided through through the Arizona at Work system, and we educate employers on the work opportunity tax credit, federal bonding, and rapid response. Next slide. The DVOPs work again with those that have barriers to employment, and then our employment services team will work with veterans that don't have, when we do our veterans a priority of service, if a veteran is not eligible because of barriers, our employment services folks will work with them. But the DevOps conduct comprehensive and specialized assessments of skills and service needs, develop individual employment plans, provide individual counseling, facilitate career planning, and promote internships and work experience. Next slide. We also work with our disabled veteran medical centers and our vet centers. We work with the HVRP, our grantees, through Department of Labor, which is in Prescott and Tucson right now. We work with shelters across Arizona. We do a lot of civic and service organizations, our American Legions, our VFWs. We provide outreach to them. We work with our tribal nations across Arizona and our Native American veterans. And we partner with agencies across Arizona under WIOA, the Work Innovation Opportunity Act, to include vocational rehabilitation and employment services. Next slide. We also, again, we've talked about the HVRP, the Homeless Veteran Reintegration Program. You guys can see the slide that's pretty much been touched. Next slide, please. Okay, we really focus across Arizona. We've got 28 disabled veteran outreach program representatives, and we've got 13 local veteran employment reps. And we really focus on our population, those that have, again, barriers to employment, minority, women veterans, disabled, and our homeless population. We're also now with Department of Labor really focusing on our Native American population and those veterans that are in remote and rural areas. Next slide. And as I mentioned earlier, we have veterans priority of service. So when a veteran comes into one of our job centers or virtually, we ask, first of all, identify the fact that they're a veteran, and then they are asked to answer some questions through our veterans priority of service. And it's a form that we use to identify what their barrier could be, and if they're eligible for DevOps services, and if they're not, again, they would work with our employment services staff. And these are some of the population that we work with directly according to the veteran priority letters and through our VPOS program. Next slide. Also a new target through Department of Labor are veterans 18 to 24 years old, are veterans of the Vietnam era, and eligible transitioning service member spouses and eligible clients. Next slide. As we mentioned earlier, the veterans across Arizona that live on our native lands are a target of ours. We have DevOps across Arizona that are working with the tribal nations. The veterans and eligible spouses seeking services through the Arizona Work Job Centers are also given priority. Again, that's through our veterans priority of service. Next slide, please. And this is my coordinator team across Arizona. We've got Leo Verdugo in Tucson, Lorena Garcia in Yuma, Steve Baroth in the Phoenix area, and then I'm located up here in the north. And we would be your contacts if you have any questions. But please feel free to reach out to any of our Arizona at Work offices, our partners. And again, we're very honored to work with the Arizona Coalition of Military Families, the Arizona Department of Veteran Services, and all of you across Arizona. And thanks for the time, Thomas.
Hey, thank you, Patrick. Listen, folks, I really want you to understand. I'm a huge supporter of what Patrick is doing essentially, and you know, there's been a lot of phrases. I sit on the Governor's Workforce Arizona Council, which helps to kind of oversee all the WIOA and all the workforce efforts within the state. We've woven in the roadmap to veteran employment, as he mentioned, and it's a really important piece. So if you are an employer or you know employers, or you're a veteran and you know, looking to for assistance, it is a great way to go. I do not like this phrase, so I apologize for using it, but just for brevity's sake, it's like one of those, best kept secret type of pieces. So they have veterans who are looking for employment. They have employers who are looking for veterans. So there's a good match there. So please take advantage of that and get in contact with Patrick or any of the folks that you saw on that final slide there, or just go to Arizona at Work and look at that, and then start working through that system. But I definitely encourage you to do that, because I think it's it's definitely a worthwhile way to attempt to connect those two things. All right, so the next slide, please. I'm sorry, Patrick, did you have something else you wanted to add?
Good to go, sir. Thanks.
Okay. Hey, thank you, sir. All right. So you've met Ayla. She is our program manager for our career navigation, our employer engagement, and SkillBridge CSP opportunities. And so I'll have her take it from here. Ayla.
Thank you so much, Thomas, for that introduction again. And I'm very happy to be here. The launch of a program that I'm very excited to be a part of very intimately with all of our programs we have over in Career Navigation. And as Thomas said, that we have those 3 programs. And Tim, you can go next slide. We'll go ahead and introduce the team. This is the team in collaboration with, we just heard from Patrick. In order to make that bridge between a veteran and employer strong, you have to have the right policies, procedures, but most importantly, as you all know, the people in place to fulfill that mission. These are the rock stars in coordination with the state workforce system called DVOPS, or Disabled Veteran Outreach Program. We heard about his team, Patrick, and all of the members of DES are our partners to be able to bridge that gap from transition from military to the civilian workforce. Here, you guys will see my awesome rock stars. We got Felicia Morales leading the way with SkillBridge coordination. She is our coordinator for Arizona State. Yay! And she's also helping us out with today's launch as well, and appreciate all of her behind the scenes, as well as those tireless hours putting those packets together for all of our members transitioning into those SkillBridge across the state of Arizona. And we've also got Jeremy Bostock. You guys heard from him in the beginning. He is awesome. He's a retiring Master Sergeant in the Air Force, and he led us in the pledge today. He's contributing added value as an Air Force retiree. He actually went through the SkillBridge program himself, which gives us the added benefit of the user experience and be able to critique our program from within. And then he's giving us obviously a lot of added benefit having HR, having a SHRM and HR certification. So lots of added value with Jeremy. And then we've got Matt Argensinger. He is out in Yuma. So he is our Yuma career specialist. He is Army Guard. I'm former recruiter in the Army Guard. He's currently in the Army in the Arizona State National Guard. And he brings value to our team in regards to that Army flavor, right? So I'm Air Force and Jeremy is Air Force. We've got Felicia and Matt. So we always make the jokes, right, amongst our team members. And we have all those little puns that you do have in a veteran environment, a workplace. And it's a really fun place that we have. Get a lot of work done, but we also remember to laugh and not take ourselves too seriously with the stressors and things like that we have in life. We've also got Tim Benson. He is our ACMF systems analyst. He is the person who's making today's program run, and he is always behind the scenes. He's very, very strategic in the way that he's helping everything that we do on the back end further help our career seekers, helping our nomination forms, helping everything that you guys see in systems collaboratively work, right? And so that we don't have a systems crash. He's very, very, very important to our career navigation team, employer engagement team, as well as ACMF as a whole. So we're really glad to have him just be a part of ACMF and be connected ecosystem. We've also got 2 more members that are not shown. They're going to be starting next week. We've got an employer engagement coordinator, and we've also got another career specialist from Phoenix coming on board next Monday on the 4th. And we're excited to have them join our team and add to their expertise as well. And what makes our team unique is that, as I had mentioned, we're all veterans ourselves or military dependents. And so when career seekers are engaging with our team, they feel comfortable and they feel understood. as we've all gone through similar journeys. And the benefit of having a team after that transition is that you don't feel left behind. Many of us, we went through that transition, and you know, you feel kind of lonely when you get to the other side of the gate, turning your CAT card, and we create that environment in that transition for our members as they transition from the military, and also for the veterans who have been out, you know, of the military for a few years and having the ability to give them a place to call home or a team to belong to. It's very important to the military connected community. Next slide, please. And here you guys see the Be Connected career development journey. We call this a journey because it's a very long process. Sometimes it can be a short process for some, depending on how resourceful, what kind of barriers you might have to transition out of the military sector into the civilian sector. And we like to call this journey as a bridge, right? It's going to allow for effective transition from the military world to the civilian world. And in some cases, when you're a veteran and you've been out of the military for a while, you still need to really utilize this program or this journey as a bridge to get to where you want to be, whether that's career, education, just professionally branding yourself. It's a culturally component system of support for service members, veterans, and their families, because our families, they're in it, right? They're along for the ride. And as it matches the style and amount of preparation that we receive for a new mission in the military, we then use this as a kind of a checklist, right? And we take it bit by bit, day by day, one day at a time. And we like to say we kind of hold their hand, or, you know, put our arms around their shoulders, and we're in it till the end. We're in it till the very end. And then we're there for follow-up as well. We know this process is very important because of the feedback we've received from career seekers in our program, as well as veterans within our program and the community members that we do work with on a day-to-day basis. Next slide, please. So as I had mentioned, feedback from our career seekers, they're giving our team feedback throughout their career development journey. And these are just a few important points they have brought to our attention. A few of these being transparent hiring practices, right? When, where, and how, you know, the 5 W's, whatever that is, you know, clear communication regarding job availability, a salary on your job posting. They want to make sure they can take care of their family. You know, workplace culture that embraces unique perspectives. As we heard from those in the panel earlier today, we heard of all the unique perspectives that we get to come across within the military. We, when we're looking at those workplace cultures, veterans are looking specifically for, you know, the embrace of their unique perspective, whatever that looks like. Career advancement, progression and stability. This is something that's common to any employee, but specifically in the military, we already know we're used to when we're going to be able to rank up, and we know how to get to that point, right? We understand how many years it's going to take, what the time frame looks like. And so when you have a transitioning member who is, you know, whether they're looking for an internship or, you know, permanent employment, that military member is specifically going to be asking those questions of the employers. You know, when am I expected to be able to promote? Is there advancement within this role? Is there opportunity for me to grow professionally? And then going to the last bullet there, availability to answer questions regarding workplace culture and opportunities. As I had said, they're going to have a lot of questions. They were told for 20+ years where to be and at what time and what work to have in hand. And either A, we're going to guide them through the process of being resourceful, but B, they're still going to ask those questions. And so that's one thing that that's a really important aspect to consider from those who are non-veteran within the HR and hiring managers sectors. And in addition to the points here, they've also expressed an interest in seeing fellow veterans working within both HR and people operations, as well as the C-suite throughout promotion from within. So if they see someone somewhere from within and they're being promoted, they're seeing veterans, someone who looks like them, right? And we're going back to someone had commented earlier in today's program about being able to see someone they can, whether it's a veteran of, you know, specific demographics, so on and so forth. If you can, you know, create diversity within your, you know, board of directors, within your management, mid-level management, and beyond just that HR recruiter that's trying to get the veterans into the company, right? So our service members are really looking for diversity to see veterans that are, you know, hired from within and deep within the corporation. so that they have someone to look up to and to aspire to. And it really creates motivation for the service members to get into a position and be motivated to then grow from within, right, and professionally develop. Next slide, please. And as we strengthen our partnership with our military installations across Arizona, you guys can see the map here. We've just witnessed some tremendous growth. Obviously, now that COVID restrictions are lessening and things are starting to open back up, we are also seeing with that, with our partners, DES, many other agencies are now putting together in-person events. And so with that, those events that are on the military installations are also opening back up. Thank goodness, right? I know we're all kind of, we've been in a little bubble here, and our members on the military installations and the employees on installations have been in that bubble as well. And then within those installations, transitioning service members, they feel at ease knowing they have a team to turn to while serving, as well as when they leave their military roles. So our team, what we do in Be Connected and Career Navigation, we complement and we offer support to the TAP and SkillBridge programs. We leverage our unique ability to offer the right resource at the right time. And as I mentioned, with COVID restrictions starting to loosen, Be Connected will be at the invitation from our active duty installations across Arizona, briefing and engaging with service members in various ways. So that way members can put a face to us, Be Connected, what is Be Connected, the ecosystem, and really just start engaging with our virtual career navigation team prior to their transition. We try to, and this is the partnership that we have with each of the active duty military installations, is that they're telling their members 2 to 4 years out, hey, here's Be Connected ecosystem. They've got a lot of resources, whatever it is you need help with. And then we go in, we brief at various different briefings across the states and at different times in that service member's career. And even for those who are looking to re-enlist or retrain, we encourage them, plug yourself into our system. We've got a virtual team that can work, Monday through Friday around your schedule. If you have a lunch break or something like that, we can work with you while you're still active duty. And many of them, they do. They're looking to be able to create their LinkedIn profile before they get out. They're looking at how to, work on their resumes and work on branding themselves and just developing themselves, because they've heard of the horror stories of being in that week-long TAP program and being overloaded with all of the resources. So many retirees are now coming in 1 to 2 years out, and those transitioning members at the end of their contract as well. They're looking at, partnering with our team before they start just rolling a resume into every website that they see, because the word is getting out. And we're really excited to know that our partners on the military installations are getting the word out for us. They're being an advocate for Be Connected, and we in turn are complementing their programs and further leveraging our resources with what they currently have. Next page, please. And as we look at partnerships, so a partnership with our employers, so we have partnerships with many community members, agencies, and also obviously the military installations, as we just talked about. Now we're going to look at employers. So Arizona Veterans Support of Employers, what that AVSE badge means is that in addition to these benefits you guys see here on this slide, you get many benefits to becoming a partner with Be Connected. And they're also offered the opportunity to join the Arizona Veteran Corporate Council, or the AVCC, which is where our partner employers work together to learn what methods work best, right? And what doesn't, what works best, what doesn't within their respective industries when it comes to veteran hiring initiatives. We at Be Connected, we are not the experts in any industry, except for obviously the veteran advocacy and our role. So we like to bring those subject matter experts together in those employers, and have that open, collaborative conversation happening between agencies and employers and ourselves, so that we can figure out what is working and what is not. When we open the door to collaboration, it's amazing the magic that can happen. And as you guys can see here, in addition to just introducing our employers to the AVCC, they're also included in marketing to the military installations across Arizona, as well as National Guard and Reserve units. Assistance with building a SkillBridge program, access to SkillBridge candidates, for matching those internships. And then in addition to that, access to service members, veterans, and their family members. We've got our employer coordinator, employer engagement coordinator coming on board on Monday, and she is also a military spouse. So she's going to take that military spouse lead and develop remote opportunities, picking up where our former military spouse leader, left off and what she was building. So we're super excited about that. In addition, we're offering our ABSCs a highlight on Be Connected with LinkedIn. And we push all of our members, all of our career seekers to go to LinkedIn. And what better way to highlight our employer partners, as well as pushing our career seekers to LinkedIn as well. It's a win-win, right? We put them on LinkedIn and we put our employers on LinkedIn and we match them. We allow them to connect and see each other and speak to each other. And then they're hearing from the horse's mouth, right? They're hearing exactly what the employers are looking for, and the employers can have access to them over a professional network. So we really encourage that. And we also offer no-cost training on how to utilize and navigate the Be Connected ecosystem. We didn't even talk about the entire ecosystem in this slide, but just the fact that you can have those trainings and those relevant veteran trainings and things like that, that the HR POCs really reach out to us for, and have that navigator training available to new employees that come on board with the employers. And then also just being included in job fairs that are coming up now that things are starting to open up at military installations, and just at various agencies, universities, and different locations. COVID has really affected employers, so we're trying to do our best to leverage the support that we have with both military installations, but also state agencies, so that we can be that bridge for our employers, just as we are for career seekers. Next slide. Thank you so much.
Right. Hey, thanks, Ayla. Appreciate it. Yeah, there's lots of good benefits to being involved with, all three of the organizations that are presenting here, the VBA, with Walt, and of course, Arizona at Work DES with Patrick, and then of course us. And the nice thing is we all work together to make that seamless. All right, Director Wright.
So I see we're a little behind time, so I'm going to make this quick. Next slide, please. Next slide. So just a quick sort of overview of ADVS. We're advocates too, and I always like to say our mission is to be the catalyst in response to the evolving needs of Arizona veterans, service members, and their families. And we say that because their needs change all the time, based on the economy, based on what's happening with politics, whatever is happening in the state. It could be even environment. Things change for veterans, and we want to make sure that we're on top of that. Next slide. So just a quick overview, especially for those stakeholders that really aren't understanding like what kind of veteran population we have. We have over 500,000 veterans. We have almost 60,000 retirees. Those are veterans who actually made it through their 20 years of service. We have 100,000 that are receiving some sort of disability based on some illness or injury they received in the military. The VA talked a little bit about that. We in the department also do claims for veterans. So employers, when a veteran comes to you and they're like, I got hurt in the military and I don't know what to do, send them to the department. We'll help them. And we have a number of the veterans that are receiving pension, which means they fall below a certain line in poverty, and the Veteran Affairs will provide them with a pension, much like Social Security. And then you can kind of see the other numbers. Female veterans make up about 9% of the entire population for veterans. And again, they're a vulnerable population, particularly when it comes to employment. Next. Again, we have active duty, 5 installations, about 20,000 service members, and about 15,000 Guard and Reserve. Next. So I talked about our veteran benefit counselors. They are out there to file claims for disability, a resource for employers. You have veterans that come to you and say, I've been trying to work with the VA to get my rating done. Send them back to us. We are professionalized. We have lots of training and we can help them. Next. Another program to help financially, particularly when veterans are waiting for that compensation from their disability rating, is the Military Family Relief Fund. And it's financial assistance to families. When something happens and, my military experience is failing me to be able to get employment, or I'm trying to work through some things, we have the opportunity to give up to $20,000 in a lifetime, emergency assistance up to $3,000, and we can help. when things come up. Next. More criteria on military family relief fund. Next. We also have tuition waivers. So, you know, employment, education, if they decide to take the education route, maybe to get better employment, we have the opportunity to provide scholarships through tuition waiver. And so there's some criteria for that. And hopefully we can send these slides out too with our next email to everybody. And then you can understand what the criteria is. Next.
100%, Wanda.
Vet toolkit. This is one of the things that have been talked about a couple times. When a veteran is starting their first day of work and they don't have the things they need to start that first day of work. Maybe it's the scrubs if they're a nurse or a CNA. Maybe it's a bicycle to get them to work. It could be a laptop. We can provide up to $750 to get them those things so they can start that first day of work with dignity. They have all the things they need to go. And I think it helps, you know, create the environment, at least from the state, that we care about them enough, not only to find them employment, but to make sure they're equipped to start that first day of employment. Next. And then of course, contact us. Hopefully that helps create a little more time.
You are awesome, Wanda. Thank you for catching us up. Really appreciate that. All right, next slide. But keep Wanda on and add Shantae. And I'm just going to say for my send off, and we'll do Shantae next, and then we'll go to Wanda. Will wrap us up. Hey, really appreciate everyone's attention today. We know that was a lot of information. We're going to be pushing this out so that you'll be able to have that available to you. The primary thing is nominate folks that, you know, that women veterans and minority veterans. We want to get them in. If we go over 100, I'm not going to tell anyone else this, but I'll tell each one of you. We'll figure it out. Okay. We've already got a little bit of extra funding. We'll work it out. So nominate away, go bonkers. This is going to help them, and it's going to help us to be able to really take a very pointed look at how these programs work effectively. So that is me. Thank you very much. You've been great. Do we have Shantae on?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Oh, I just didn't see I didn't see your spotlight. It didn't pop up in my thing.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
Shantae, a minute or two, and then Wanda, you've got the remainder.
Yes, absolutely. Colonel Wright, Mr. Winkle, thank you for the opportunity, giving us the opportunity to partner with you. This has been an amazing event. I've even learned a lot myself, and I'm sitting here taking notes because this will definitely enhance our economic development initiatives moving forward, especially in my SkillBridge area. And then I also have a couple of pilots that I'm going to be working on, working with women as they transition out of the military. So I will be giving you all a call, and hopefully you can accept some of our individuals who will be in our pilot program. So there'll definitely be more collaboration. So thank you. This has been wonderful. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks so much, Shantae. And thanks so much for the collaboration. I'm sure we'll continue working together.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll finish up just by saying that, you know, you're out there, you have access to veterans, all of you who are on this virtual meeting. And so send them our way. Even if they don't think they might need a new job, when you're talking to them, you're going to know that they can use it. They might be underemployed, and they might not have any career succession available to them. Get them to us so we can find the right fit for them. And, you know, it could be a neighbor. It could be somebody, you know, you talk to on the corner. You never know. Send them our way. Thanks, Thomas.
Hey, thanks, Wanda. Appreciate it. And a fond farewell to all.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye. Hey, Patrick Ziegler. All right, awesome, Darlene. Great. I'm so glad you wrote that. If
Yes.
the flyer that you received, there should be a nomination. You can self-nominate. just go for it. We'll look for your name, and we'd love to have you as a part of the program. Love it. So thank you. Mr. Ziegert, it is very good. Thanks, Patrick. Appreciate it. And Carrie, yeah, thank you for everything. Oh, you posted the link. That's fantastic. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah, loved your words, and shoot us that email.
Okay.
Yep.
Great.
Checking if there's anything else here. We'll just wait, hold on for just a few minutes, team, and we'll wait till wait for just a moment.